Hello students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. In today's video, we are going to discuss about the crisis that is unfolding in the Canada. In Canada, it has been decided by the opposition party leader that they are going to introduce a no confidence vote or no confidence motion against the current Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and his party. So let us try to understand in this detail that what is the reason behind this particular crisis and how the situations can play it out in the near future. Now, to give you the brief context of this particular issue, the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's days, it may have been numbered. He might be very soon be losing his post of Prime Ministership, and this comes after his key ally, that is a new Democratic Party, and its leader, who is a Sikh of Indian origin, who is currently the leader of NDP, Jagmeet Singh. He has said that he will introduce a no confidence vote against the Prime Minister himself. The no confidence vote, however, will not take place soon. It will be introduced somewhere in the January of the next year after the winter break of the House of Commons. House of Commons is the chamber of the Parliament of Canada. Now, why this no confidence vote can be easily passed against the Prime Minister? If you look at the distribution of the seats in the Canadian Parliament, it will become clear to you. For example, the current Prime Minister Justin Trudeau comes from the Liberal parties. And in the last elections that were held, Liberal Party got total 158 votes only. However, for getting a majority, it requires total 170 votes. Because if you look at the total seats in the Canadian Parliament, it is 338. So basically, he needed support of some other parties. Now, in this context, if you look the opposition, the major opposition that you have, that is the Conservative Party, it had 119 vote. Then you have the New Democratic Party that we are talking about, the Jagmeet Singh Party, that has a total seat of 25. Greens have 2. Bloc Québécois has 34, and then that is how the distribution we can understand. Now, in this context, what has happened to support the Justin Trudeau's late government? The New Democratic Party and that time agreed that it will support the government from outside. That means it will not be the part of government, but from outside it will lend support the government, and that is how Justin Trudeau has been able to survive and rule or run the country for last few years. This is something similar to what we can compare with the UPA1 government that we had in the UPA first time that we have somewhere between 1990, 2004 and 2009. So during that time, if you remember, the UPA government or the Congress party did not have the full majority. So from the outside, it was supported by the left parties. So similar kind of arrangement we can understand has been going on in the Canadian Parliament and Canadian politics as well. Now, if you try to understand that what has precipitated the current crisis, it can be traced back to the election of President Donald Trump in the United States, and we have also made a video about it that somewhere in the last days of November, President Donald Trump has threatened that he will impose 25% tariffs on both Canada and Mexico. And what is the reason behind this? Because he believed that a lot of fentanyl, which is a opioid or drug, it has been entering into the US via the Canadian border, because Canadian border control is not as restrictive, or it is not, we can say, taking the appropriate measures. Also, he has talked about a lot of illegal migration that is happening both from the Canadian and Mexico border. So basically, when 25% tariff was threatened by Donald Trump, it had created a havoc in the Canada, because Canadian economy to a large extent is dependent on the United States. One of the largest export destination for Canadian economy is the US. So 25% tariff will have a devastating impact on the entire economy of Canada. So because of this, widespread questioning were also raised in the domestic circles, political circles of the Canada, about Trudeau's ability to handle the fallout and how he will basically deal with this crisis. Also, it portrayed him as a weak leader if he did not take any action. So to basically improve the situation, he visited the President Trump in his Mar-a-Lago resort, and there both have held the discussion. However, Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland recently, to add a woe, has announced her resignation, and she has said that not only she has resigned, but also she has written a letter, a big resignation letter with a scathing remark about the Trudeau's policies and Trudeau's, we can say, especially economic policies. So this shocking announcement came hours before she was scheduled to present a fall, that is the autumn economic update to the parliament that how the Canadian economy has fared in the last quarter. So these all situations are basically turning the tide against the Trudeau, where he is losing fastly not only the popularity of the public, but also he is losing the popularity and confidence of his own party members. Now, if we try to look at this resignation angle, where the Deputy Prime Minister as well as the Finance Minister of Canada has resigned, now she has written that in the budget document that she was to present, Canada is running a large budget deficit almost of $61.9 billion. That is Canadian dollars we are talking about. Canadian dollars, if we try to understand, it has a value of about 1 Canadian dollar is equivalent to about 60 Indian rupees, we can say. It's slight fluctuation, you'll see there. But nonetheless, so in US dollar term, $43 billion US dollars of budget deficit for the year 23-24, which is drastically exceeding the projections, and that does not bode well for the economy of the Canada in general. Also, she has personally alleged that the Prime Minister himself, he no longer wanted her to serve as the Finance Minister and had offered her a different cabinet post that many experts argue was akin to demotion. Also, she does not agree with the current policy of Trudeau, where he is trying to go to the policies of what you can refer as freebies, where he also has announced that there will be GST holidays, where the consumers will not have to pay GST on certain items, especially related to grocery, for a this month of about 2 to 3 months. So all this basically she believe is a wrong approach. And also in the context of the US, especially once the Donald Trump come into the office, it is believed that US will adopt an approach of aggressive economic nationalism, where the American interest will supersede the interest of all its allies. And also in this context, Canadian economy can suffer a severe impact, and the need is to counter such economic nationalism by US. And to do so, she said that we should keep our fiscal powder dry today. That means we should not go and indulge in the policies of freebies, in the GST taxation holidays, specifically when the country is running the budget deficit. In simple terms, if you understand, in the budget deficit refers to basically a situation where the government's revenues are surpassed by the government's expenditure. That means expenditure is more, revenue is less. So that is the budget deficit situation. MPs from the Liberal Party, to which the Prime Minister Trudeau belongs to, they also have demanded that he should resign and they can elect a new leader, which most probably will be the Deputy Prime Minister herself, and they can again run the government till the next elections. However, this is not a big problem. The larger problem that is precipitating this entire crisis can be understood from the facts that there has been a large scale discontent and dissatisfaction among the party members, among the cabinet ministers themselves. And this can be understood from the fact that before the Deputy Prime Minister, almost 8 ministers have exited Trudeau's government in the recent months. The Liberal Party has presided over rising political divisiveness and inflationary pressure. The pressure of price rise is something that is felt by the consumers of Canada or the general citizens of Canada, especially in the context of housing. Canada currently is facing a housing crisis where the prices of houses has soared up. Many of the arguments given about this is also because of the continuous immigration that has been going on, which has caused a upward pressure on the housing prices. So spiraling house prices and increasing homelessness. So many people in the recent months have also been seen protesting against the government, where they are saying that Canada has become a land of the homeless, where people today cannot afford to buy houses for themselves as it was possible a few decades back or even 1 decade back. So this all discontent in the political circle, in his own political parties, in the general population is the cause behind the entire situation here. Now, if you look at the popularity of the Justin Trudeau, it has been continuously declining. In the recent time, his popularity has declined to almost 26%. At the time when he was elected, his popularity was above 60%. So from above 60% to 26%. That is the kind of decline we have seen in the popularity, and not only in the popularity of Prime Minister himself, but even the party, the Liberal Party, has also seen decline in approval rating at just 33%. Similarly, its rival, the main opposition party, that is the Conservative Party, its popularity has showed up to 45%. So obviously, it seems evident that if and when the next election takes place in Canada, the Conservative Party may very well come into power. Now, Trudeau's own approval rating, as we discussed, fallen 26%. The Liberals, which last won the election in 2021, lost the support of the left-wing New Democratic Party in September. However, no confidence motion has not been introduced. That is why Trudeau was able to survive as the Prime Minister. Now, if suppose no confidence motion or vote is approved, what is or who is going to be the next PM? Now, as we discussed, the Conservative Party is leading as far as the general poll is concerned in the terms of approval rating. So it's most possible that the leader of the Conservative Party, that is P.A. Poilievre, he is going to become the next Prime Minister of Canada. If you try to understand about him, he is believed to be a right-wing populist leader, something how we can term Donald Trump also, and he is projected to win. So it's quite possible that in the next few months, he is going to become the next PM of Canada. Now, what is next for the Trudeau? What are the possibilities or what are the cards that he can still play? So first is obviously if he resign, which he is adamant to not do, at least till the new year, an interim leader can be elected by the Liberal Party itself. He will serve the remainder term until the party elects a new leader. Second, if the no-confidence motion or no confidence vote does proceed in January, the Liberal Party is expected to lose, as discussed before. This will lead to the dissolution of the Parliament. And however, it requires the support of the parliamentary majority of 338 members, which the party is short of as far as the Liberal Party is concerned. And the NDP's withdrawal of support makes elections imminent. So he does not have a lot of cards to play, at least for now it seems. However, one thing that he can do is rather than dissolving the parliament, he can prorogue the parliament. That is suspension of parliament without its dissolution. That is called as prorogation. Now, for proroguing the parliament, Trudeau may choose to exercise this option in the interest of the continuing the current government policy and bypass the no confidence vote. Because obviously, when no confidence vote can take place, when the parliament is assembled. So, if the parliament is in the state of prorogation, there cannot be assembly, there cannot be such kind of voting, and Trudeau can well keep being the PM of the country. And this is not something which can be done or which will be done for the first time if he indeed exercises this choice. Earlier in the 2008 also, by the then Prime Minister of Canada, Stephen Harper, such actions has been taken. The parliament was prorogued. Even in 2020, you have the charity scandal, and in the wake of charity scandal, prorogation of parliament was done. So this is something that he well can do. However, Trudeau risks alienating support. To understand this, the prorogation of parliament is something which might not be even liked by the leaders of his own party, by the political members and politicians of his own party. So he can risk alienating the support within his party in the process, which will make him further more popular and which can further complicate his political future in the later times. So this is all what we have to basically understand as far as the current Canadian crisis, and especially the crisis related to the Prime Minister Trudeau is concerned. Thank you very much.